it go. Yeah, me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Go, 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 go. Oh, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give it all to Jesus. Let him take control. Just say it and worship. I know it hurt you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret in this. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live easy round, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if they say you will continue to be a soul, if they say you will continue to be a prostitute, if they say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If they say your need is for a borrow, some go to meeting, mommy can say no, Johnny, ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Your need is for a borrow. Let it go. 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 Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go, man.
Mighty blow. Holla, holla. Nobody do it like you do it, you a true God. Yes. You always hear me when I say my prayer with few words. But Genesis said, and they play in this new world. Read the power every day, and while I'm still a good boy. Jehovah bigger than your problem, so just let it go. Just keep on praying, he will make your blessing overflow. To be the best and more aggressive, gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood, I wanna give you praises. Yes, I was this and David did, they think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it better, may not be in here. Say every time I sing, I'm on my knees, begging God for mercy. Thank you for your God, blessing and forgiveness. You solved my problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. Now only you can see my struggle when I'm very stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get the best. No matter what the problem is, man, you let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll.
All right. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Liberia Public Radio. And I'm Afonso Zienso. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Wherever you are, we want to say let it go. Let's see what we can let it go here this evening. Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh is the former superintendent of Nima County, Republic of Liberia, is in the USA. Will be my special guest here this evening.
I in the hospital, suffering from all kinds of sickness, Lord. Lord help me. That sickness that devouring me, I say, let it go. The barrenness, pack your low and go. Live with the life of your blessings.
And this is how we're going to do it here this evening. We want to welcome everybody here, to wherever you are this morning, this evening. Welcome, and we're going to be taking you into our own Nima County here this evening. Let's go. All right, we want to say welcome. And this is how we're going to be starting the program here very shortly. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Vacant Edith Gongloe-Weh right there in your own country, Nima, and that's the gospel princess. Welcome into Edith Gongloe-Weh. Stay tuned. It's going to be a truck, and a kind of a little bit rocky evening here this evening. Let's go. If you are in Liberia, right here in the USA, Israel, whatever you are, we want to say welcome this evening. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Very shortly, we will get this program on the way, and we might be hearing from inside Nima County. It's a Gantat, as you know, the Liberty Party, and there was sort of injunction fire in, but our understanding that is being lifted. Our man, Magdan, is standing by in Ganta City. Stay tuned. Good evening, good evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing this Friday evening with us here, right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Do us a favor by sharing this video to my special guest here this evening is the former superintendent of Nima County, is currently based in the USA. Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh contested the last senatorial race in Nima County. And this is Alfonso's take here this evening as we are about to have this high call conversation. We are hoping to also join our national correspondent, Magdan, is currently standing by in Ganta City, in Nima County as well, where the Liberty Party convention that should have taken office today. There was an injunction placed on that, but at last minute of time, according to reports, that a temporary injunction has been lifted. What is going on there? We're going to be getting more of that. Politics, with the emergence of the social media, Facebook, and the rest of the social outlet, has created a perfect storm for politicians, thus making it possible, no matter of their geographical locations, to have their stay. Let me just go right inside Ganta City, Nima County, where our man, national correspondent Mike Dan, who is also head of the LPR team in Africa, is currently there this morning out in Ganta, big commercial city, right there in the heartbeat of Nima County. Mike, good morning. Mike Dan, are you there? All right, I guess he's having an issue there with his audio. Mike, I think his system, let me just get him off. Hopefully it does work. Just bear with us. He's outside of Morovia in Nimadet, Ganta, but let's see what let me just get him off here and see. Hopefully he can come back here. Let me see here what I see. I mean, okay, Mike, all right, let's see here. Okay, he gone off. So let's see here. He's going to come back. But back to the talking point on my take. Politicians, the beauty of the social media has created a perfect storm. It doesn't matter to your geographical location. It does not sanction to you. You still have the ability to express your views and opinion. As a politician, politicians, they do not just easily go into retirement, regardless of the outcomes of their past political history. Well, for quite a while, she's been quiet since the last election, taking a break. I would say a break, because the action has proven itself is already off. She suffers this week in a major Facebook tweet, which of course has raised concern. And that has to do with Salat Mattel, the deal that is being. But there's been a lot of backlash with respect to the former superintendent, which she also served as the superintendent of Nimba County, Republic of Liberia, during the presidency of Helen Johnson Sirleaf. What did the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government did at the time? Also on her watch. However, not to vindicate the adjudicate her, we're going to give her the opportunity to have a conversation right here. We have had this conversation behind the scenes, and so we're going to be having those discussion yet exactly. So there are terms and conditions that we agree to talk about. Also, remember Councillor Edith Gongloe-Weh, a long-time human rights advocate, is in the presidency race of the Republic of Liberia comes 2023. Our understanding, it is with the Liberty Party. So it's like a piece of cloth caught between the scissors. Where will she go? Brother is in the race. She's on the other side of the wall. But she sounded a major alarm this week, warning and alleging that envelopes were exchanged or bribe, in her words. Let's see here from that Facebook tweet that prompted this conversation. Let's have a look.
Good afternoon, citizens and friends.
Facebook, citizens of Liberia, citizens of Nimba County, Bon County, Grand Bassa County, and all of the counties of Liberia. This afternoon, I'm constrained to make this video because of what is happening at the National Legislature. The people that we elected to protect us, to seek our interests, to speak on our behalf. There's a letdown going on right now with this ArcelorMittal deal. I've got incredible information. Credible information right now, sorry about that interruption, that this very horrible deal that relinquishes our right as a country over the rail that runs from Yekepa to Buchanan and the port of Buchanan. We no longer are going to have access to these national assets, major national assets. I just got off the phone
globe. Welcome, I'm Afonso Z, and so my guest is already here. Let's see how this conversation gonna go this evening. The former superintendent of Nima County, Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh, also a guru in the media world, just in case if you don't know. So I'm not sure how you're gonna play out here, but we're gonna see exactly because politician, being a media giant, know exactly how to handle this question and how to go about to do it. But I can tell you, this video here prompted a lot of attention, and that caught the attention of the Liberia Public Radio. And we thought to give you a fair share. By the way, I had an opportunity to talk to her the last time around. That time she was on a political marathon for the senatorial race of Nima County. But right now she's taking a break. But politicians do not necessarily, they don't usually take a break. They just take a little bit time off and nothing is off the table. They can wake up. Folks, let's get the conversation. Time is already fast. Okay, what is going on? If it is not in Nima County, it is outside of the Bear Wheel, but a prominent doctor, a high-profile lady of the county, voiced out this week. What prompted that decision? In her own word, credible information. Sunday alarm. Edith Gongloe-Weh, the former superintendent, is standing by. Let me just bring her right here. We're going to get a conversation going. Okay. What, Madam Soup, good evening and welcome. This was not really meant to do this, but again, we in this business, this is something that we got to do. We got to go beyond the belt to know exactly what's going on. Good evening and welcome on LPR.
Good evening, my friend and brother, and good evening, the people of Liberia, around the world, and in Liberia itself.
Okay, welcome. You have potentially created a talking point, and we're going to see how we can grab that wheel to what prompted. The lion was sleeping at rest, and this whole Asala Mateo business came out, and by the time we looked, something bummed on the beauty of the social media. Okay, but let's just do a little bit of groundwork. How things been going so far?
Well, good. I mean, on a personal level, we are doing great. On the national level, Liberia is crying and needs all of us attention. And by the grace of God, we are going to get there.
Liberia is crying. That's a big one here. At the hands of who, or who is the chief architect making Liberia to cry? Do you know?
Before I go any further to even answer your question, because that's almost like literally begging a question. Every Liberian alive today, whether in Liberia or outside of Liberia, is aware that the country is not faring well, not going the right direction. So you don't have to be a political scientist or any type of specialist to tell that our country is really not doing well today, and proverbially the country is crying. But I want to start off by saying a big thank you to a team, a group of Nimbayans, and a group of Liberians, not just Nimbayans, that have come together, who has seen the threat that this company called ArcelorMittal has posed to our country. And they've raised the bar, they've blew the alarm. And so we all have been on this bandwagon. I just want to tell them thank you. That group is headed by my little brother, Depuzuo, Armstrong Gubaslepo, and many others are on the bandwagon, including Anthony Myers, Alex Nyan. They did a phenomenal job today on the Costa show. When I listen to them, I mean, I can't get tired listening to them. These are young people who have their hearts in the right place, who are fighting for the liberation of our country from the economic vampires, as I call them. These multi-billion-dollar companies, multinational companies that have these foreign direct investments in our country and taking advantage of this country. I'm so glad today that our young professional brothers and sisters are standing up and their heads are lifted high, and together, collectively, we are fighting for this country.
Okay. We're going to get to the details. We have this conversation here, and there's a lot of dissenting views with other people, and we just thought it was to also get your version as to how that video, what prompted that video, and others were saying, but what it means, she was part of the system. She once served as superintendent of the county. So the genesis of Asala Mattel is from the Helen Johnson Sirleaf administration as well. So how can she be here? Mike, are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm here. I'm very loud.
How are you, Magda?
Well, I'm doing good, man. How is it?
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's pause here a little bit here. There's a major conversation here with the former superintendent, but you are in Ganta City there. What happens there today? What is the up-to-date news right now? So we all eager to know what's going on. Complete political.
Well, to just summarize it, earlier on today.
Oh Lord, internet, Liberia. Okay, Mike, let me just get you off here yet. If it's okay, hopefully we can bring you back. Okay, so Madam Superintendent, like I was saying, those have been the conversations behind the scene, and we just thought otherwise that's how I send that invite. But let me give you a sense. I want to make sure, because sometimes I don't know whether it's your twin sister or it's yourself here. Let me just bring this, and I want you to listen to validate this video if it is Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh, and then we'll start a conversation.
Because of what is happening
at the National Legislature, the people that we elected to protect us, to seek our interests, to speak on our behalf. There's a letdown going on right now with this ArcelorMittal deal. I've got incredible information. Credible information right now, sorry about that interruption, that this very horrible deal that relinquishes our right as a country over the rail that runs from Yekepa to Buchanan and the port of Buchanan. We no longer are going to have access to these national assets, major national assets. I just got off the phone, and my intelligence information is that they have given money to all of our lawmakers to sign this deal against the interests of Liberia. I am discouraged. I feel that punch in my stomach. But we have to stand up for our rights and fight for this country. We must liberate Liberia. We must liberate Liberia from the hands of these vampire companies that have been aided and abetted by people that we placed our trust and confidence in to lead us, to protect our interests, to promote our interests. It's a complete 100% letdown this afternoon from what I'm hearing. So I'm calling on Liberians. This deal is bad. Even if they ratify it, we must continue to fight for what is rightfully ours. Mittal is going to make tons of money from this. Already as it is, our people are dying every day in Liberia. They are dying from unknown situations, unknown conditions. We don't even know what is killing people like this. I take it that our country, there are many factors responsible for the death of our people.
Okay. Am I getting it right there? Is that Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh in that podcast, or expressing her concern to what is going on in the country?
You got it right. That's me.
Okay. I haven't seen that side of you. Always smiling. I don't care how the going gets tough and the tough gets going. But this time around, it was like a real. It was something like in your world. You feel a punch in your stomach. So how this? It's not an overnight, my guess. This is something that is being ongoing. What prompted that sort of outburst this week?
So thank you. You know, There's always the last straw that breaks the camel's back. And that day was one of those days where you reach a point and you feel like all around you is crumbling and you must act. I started off by thanking some of our young men and women who have been fighting and doing research and collecting data and, reaching out to our various leaders in Liberia, in Nimba, about this deal. Once the deal surfaced, the news of the deal surfaced. So I have been in a know, but I didn't think that they were going to reach that level. I just felt, no, this is not real. The the legislature is going to turn it down. Until that afternoon, I had to appear on the radio in Mumbai. And when I listened, what I heard, it just gave me such a guts punch. I immediately cut off the interview that I was doing. So that video that you saw was an emotional reaction because I didn't believe what I was hearing. Then I got a call from some intelligence source that said, "Don't waste your time, madam. That deal is already sealed, it's done. Metal has ditched our money. Each representative, each lawmaker is going to get $50,000. The money is they've already given the money, they've given the first $25,000 each, so do not waste your time." My immediate reaction was, then we will continue this fight. And this fight will not extend to everyone who has carelessly or intends to carelessly sign this deal against the people of Liberia, against the future generation of our country. Because this is like a complete disregard for generational protection and economic protection of the generation ahead of us. Leadership should not be about just you, and it should not be about just the here and now. Real leaders, statesmen and women, plan for the next generation. They plan for 25 years after them. Our people tend to only plan for today, but we cannot continue to go this route all the time. So that for me was that impetus, that move, that moment that I felt something must be done. And the only thing I had to my disposal was my phone and having internet service. As you could see in that video, I was not even prepared for the media. I mean, what people will usually do when you're facing the world, get dressed and all that. I was just so emotional. And I was not even thinking, I didn't care, whether I was properly dressed up, whether I was made up, whether I was sitting in the right position. I just wanted Liberians to hear me at that point. So that's what went into that video that you saw. Yes, it was me.
Okay, so let's do a little bit backtracking because it caught my attention. I like, no, something right now going on. We're going to go in depth here. But the history of Asala Metal is not of yesterday with the CDC-led government. It's dated back as the government of Helen Johnson Sirleaf, which at the time you served as the superintendent of Nima County, correct?
Yes.
So how was this arrangement? This is a big institution with good money. It's all in over 60 countries. He has given a lot of investment, but we yet to see some sort of training or infrastructure or facility that even if they leave tomorrow, sons and daughters of Liberia in its entirety, besides the Nima, Bond, and those areas that are direct beneficiary, will get something. Nothing was done. So how was this thing handled as well? You being the daughter of that county now crying, expressing to your disappointment and all of that. How was that handled as well under the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government? You think?
Well, Alfonso, I listened to your show this morning, actually this afternoon, and I did hear some panelists that you had on your show talking about the very thing that you're talking about. Let's put it in context. Yes, granted, this deal was not even signed under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She managed to recover some of what Liberia lost in the signing of the deal. This deal came into existence in 2005 under the administration of the late and former interim president, Judy Bryant. That's when that ArcelorMittal 25-year deal, 900 million investment deal was signed and ratified. But when Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came to power, giving her international connection and the friends she had, they read the deal and said, in fact, Global Witness blew the alarm that this war-ravaged country, coming for their first time after almost 20 years of war, the first constitutionally elected government is coming to power with a deal that is significantly against the interests of the country. In fact, Global Witness said that deal had the potential to erupt conflict again in the country because of how ArcelorMittal unscrupulously acquire or give unto themselves, awarded to themselves, assets of this country, such as the railroad from Buchanan to Yekepa or from Yekepa to Buchanan, the port of Buchanan, our land. ArcelorMittal, if you look in that deal of 2005, it says all public land in the operational area of the company ArcelorMittal belongs. ArcelorMittal has the right, absolute right, to those public land. Most of those assets that were given or that ArcelorMittal grabbed in that 2005 MDA were reversed in 2006 under Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So I just wanted to make that. I wanted to make that other correction. Then coming to my involvement as superintendent, let's put that in context as well. I don't want this to be about it's us versus them, your duty is our time kind of thing. That's not how a nation develops. But because you brought it up, I'm going to make some comment on that. I came into government in 2009. As I just told you, the deal was signed in 2005 and ratified and reviewed and amended in 2006 before I came to power, before I came to government. The second issue there is that even if I was in government at the time, the way these concession deals have worked, when people are not in government, they don't know how government operates. Individuals don't form part of this as standing individuals. The government of the Republic of Liberia sets up committee for these negotiations. These committees are set up by the president, and then the sectoral, you have sectoral ministries that form this committee. So that the sectoral ministries that form these committees are headed by the National Investment Commission, the NRC is the head of that committee, assisted by whatever sector that investment is going to be affected in. So if, for instance, we're talking about mining now, the NRC is assisted by the Ministry of Lands, Mines, and Energy as a sector. The minister then appoints the department that specifically deals with that. We appoint the head of that to that committee. So even if I was in government, I will come nowhere near these committees. Like today, the agreement that has been signed, I bet there are some ministers who heard about it for the first time in the news. And no superintendent knows about this deal, not even the current superintendent of NIMBA. So I just wanted to make that clarification. But
Okay.
again,
All right.
people wear their political hats and then they come and want to just do, like political punch. But this one is way below the belt.
Okay, all right, thank you. The house is in for our senior contributor, Mr. Amos George, is based in Atlanta, Georgia. Magda is on a special assignment in Ganta, in Nimba County, your own motherland. And of course, we want to welcome our friend and brother, Emerald Beat Nicole Giant, going to be contributing here, right here on this LPR. We try to create these diversities and views and opinions to be heard. So, gentlemen, welcome. Let's get a conversation going. Okay, so
Thank you, Anderson.
yeah, so let's have a conversation here a little bit, Madam Where if you want to call you. This started from Judy Bryan. It came to Helen Johnson to sell you. Was there any conversation at any time for revision? Because my understanding, if she didn't sign it or her government did not sign that, it meant there was some sort of hair scratching or something wasn't really right. Was there any point in time there was any conversation, do you remember, at the time with the Helen Johnson led government that perhaps to kick in the executive ordinance to say, hey, this is not good for our country. This is not good for this republic. This is not how we want to go. Was there any attempt? Or, okay, it was done that way. Let's let it go. It's all set.
Well, Alfonso, I maybe I was not clear enough, but I mentioned that. I said the deal was signed and ratified in 2005. But when Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came to power, she questioned the deal itself, how it really didn't have a lot of interest of the country factor in. It was not just from her because the whistle had been blown by Global Witness. So that deal was reviewed and amended. When they amend something, it means they change it. So what we have in 2006 was now the amended version from the 2005. So the port of Buchanan, all that were reverted to the Republic of Liberia. So from 2005 to 2005, Meta got all that under Judy Bryan. 2006, it was reversed. In fact, with new other additional clauses put there to protect the interest of the Liberia and Nimba County, or the counties in which ArcelorMittal has its operation. One of the amendment improvement on that deal was in one of the articles, I don't have the information here now, so I can't pinpoint which one, but there was in the 2005 deal, they just have $50,000 for scholarship per year, right? But $50,000. But in the amended version, they put number to it because take, for instance, universities and graduate schools in these developed countries, $50,000 for mining engineer or geologist to come here either for bachelor's or master's degree. That almost like less than one semester tuition for a person. That's how much it will cost. Or maybe 1 year tuition is completely not plausible. But then in the amended deal, it was put there there has to be 2 students per year plus $50,000. So now you put over 25 years, the estimation or the projection was that at least over 25 years, you will have trained 50 geologists and mining engineers plus more, with the addition $50,000. So I'm just saying all of this to say that the deal in 2006, the amended version in 2006, I should say, was by far better and in a better interest of the country than what we had in 2005. It was not perfect. We didn't think as citizens of the 3 counties, especially Nimba, the origin of this raw, this a natural resource. We didn't think that sufficient local content was put in that deal in both the 2005 and the amended version. We didn't think that. But today, Liberia was just coming to this constitutional leadership after a long period. So a lot of things were done like hush patch, house patch.
All
But
right, gentlemen.
we cannot accept what was accepted then.
Okay, gentlemen, the microphone was opened. We want to give everybody the opportunity. Mic down to Mr. George.
Yes, I want to come here a little bit, man, where it has come to this stage now where lawmakers here in Liberia have all put pen to paper, have agreed that this agreement so far should be amended. Mr. Lashi Mitchell came to this country in September, calling for the amendment of extension of this deal for additional 15 years. We should take the whole agreement to 2049, and the lawmakers has passed it, and they did not take they from the local thing. They haven't taken into consideration all of the recommendations that are coming from ordinary citizens here, including here Nimba, who have saying that no, Mita has not done much good. So by extending it, it won't be in favor of the ordinary citizen. What can you say about this?
You know, well, thank you so much, Mark. Charles Taylor used to say, under the Bible, he said, whatever man signs can be undone. Under the Bible is the only book that you cannot undo. I'm saying this to say that we have two houses that make up the national legislature of the country. And the representatives have passed it, but you still have the Senate, the House of Elders. There is a reason, a divine reason why the House of Senate is called the House of Elders. Their people have to think first of the country before they think about themselves. We will hope that the Senate will do unlike what the House of Representatives did. However, if they do not, we still have remedy to our disposal. You have legal remedy. You can seek other, routes, like you can seek the legal routes. And I have said here, time and time and again, on this issue, on this bill, we are not going to relent. We will sustain the advocacy because people cannot continue to take advantage and think that it is fine, it is okay. It will not always be okay. Time is not on our side. So we are going to sustain the argument up to 2023. Like I said yesterday, thankfully, it is happening at the eve of an election year. That's the glorious thing that has happened. It is happening at the time when Liberians are now okrum with the media. We have a barrage of media approaches going on. You have the town hall meetings, Nimba County, Bon County, Grand Bassa County. They have proliferation of community radio.
Is this more or extension in itself is it timely? Because there are many who have been saying that this whole thing about extension is not timely.
No, it's
Do you see this as timely?
No, it's not timely. First, you have a 25 years deal. And you've gone 15 years. In that deal, you had obligations. You affect your signature to carry on certain obligations. You have social responsibilities to carry on as a social or corporate citizen. You've reneged on them. You've not done them. Then 15 years, you come out and say, well, I want to renew or I want to extend. Okay. Of course, there is a clause in the deal that allows extension, but it gives a timeline. 6 months to the expiration of this deal, Metal will be giving the first preference for extension before any company can be looked at. So what's the rush? But we all know what the rush is. The rush is Lakshmi Mittal, this billionaire Indian guy whose daughter is worth over $16 billion, a father worth over $60 billion, has this much money, and he sees, the Bible is clear. Greed, just manufacture more greed. When you want more, you can never get satisfied. You would think that such money the person
Okay.
is not getting to share it.
So,
But you have the mountain
Emre and
beginning.
Joy,
Let
I
me
can
just
let
finish.
you guys just be quiet.
I'm sorry for the sidetrack, but you have the mountains in Guinea that are ready now for exploitation. It would take several years to build the railroad track from the mountain, which is in the forest region of Guinea, closer to Nimba. It would take a lot of years to build it to Conakry. So the natural and most economic route is through the Yekepa to Buchanan Railroad and the port of Buchanan. That's why Metal wants to own these assets, because then they leverage their right to these national assets as a bargaining chip to bargain for the exploitation of the mountain in Guinea. At whose expense? At the expense of the country and at the expense of Nima people, Bon County people, Grand Bassapo, and the Republic of Liberia as a whole.
But
Because
their
the
business
mining operation affects every county, whether we know it or not.
Okay.
Mr.
Emre,
So, can I come in?
yeah, sure. You and Pat Joyce here. Let's have a conversation here. You've been listening a while. Go ahead, Emre.
Yeah, I've been listening. This is one of the few issues that I actually agree with Madam Gongloe, and she's right. The reason why I got into this is because Nimba is dear to my heart. People, I will have to let people to know that it's where I grew up in Yekepa, and my mom is from that region, Beligere. So the way she speaks about the issues from the heart. The citizens over there, they have not in any way benefited from anything that's been done over there. So we have had in the past our share of disagreements, but when it comes to this, I'm on board with her. All right. Look, if you look at the history, what she's advocating for, if you're going back to renewing a contract or contract with anyone, you have to go and measure what they have done in the past based on the corporate social responsibility that was into the first set of contracts. Have we looked into it to see whether they met the that aspect of the corporate social responsibility to the citizens of Nima? What she's saying is no, they haven't. So why do we have to rush? I don't think when it comes to our people, time is not a factor. It's what is due to them a factor. Whether we like it or not, we cannot be in a rush for this. We cannot be in a rush for this because we have to think. When you are the government, you represent your people. You have to be able to look out for your people. That's the essence of governance. To see what's best for your people. And what she's saying, she's 100% right. And I'm going to stand with her in this because the key thing, Mr. So, the people of Nimba, the people of Liberia, not only Nimba, but Nimba is included. All right? The people of Nimba, the people of Liberia, how are they going to benefit when the past few years that metal steel was there? They have not benefited in any way, have not improved the living conditions of the people. The health facilities and so have not been revamped. All of these things we have to look at, and don't be so quick to rush and sign a new deal when they have not met prior or previous obligations. And so let us look at it and put them under the microscope now and measure what they've done in the past.
Nicholas, they're saying that they're going to do some level of improvement rather than what they were doing.
Okay, yeah, but listen to this. Listen to this. I'm speaking. The reason why I decided, because this is touching to me. The people of Nimba. I'm a part of the people of Nimba. I grew up over there, Conflict, Beligere, and so all those places and so it's so touching. Sanikwale, Ganta and so. So when we speak that way, when we talk about the futuristic aspect of something that are not being done even in the past, and so we know there's a pattern over there. So we cannot give a better guesstimate as to the future when you have not seen them demonstrate in any way, anything good of the past that they have reneged, that she said, on the deals of the past. So how can you guarantee that going forward they're going to be adherence to whatsoever that is signed?
Okay.
Now, how?
Okay, hold on one second. Mr. George, I see you there. You're being taken note. This is a very fascinating conversation. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to shape it in a different form here, but it's good to have people because some of the major actors, we really want to know what were some of the conversations within the Nima belt, the Bon County belt, the Grand Bassa belt. Who are those people that even voted based on what? If all these people they did not do anything, what led them to take that decision? And what would be the political implication? Madam, where sounded that alarm? Let's see whether that sort of fire will hold. But Mr. George,
Yeah.
let me just bring you in here a little bit here. You listen to our men, Nicole and Mike, and our special guest. You are also a native of Bon County. What's going on?
Let me say, Mr. Benson, welcome, and to Madam Superintendent, former Superintendent of Nima County. Let me say this first. I was one of those the other night that was on your back that I wanted to know when you were superintendent, 2009, up to the time you left office, you ever had a chance to see what was going on as it relates to this company in Nima County? And if so, did you ever inform your superintendent, your senators, and the former president of Liberia to say, hey, this company is not living up to the obligation. What are you people doing to put some pressure on it? Did you do something like that first?
First thing, thank you, Mr. Josh. When you look in the agreement of 2005 and the amendment, in fact, we will stick to the amended agreement of 2006. It is clearly stipulated that after every 5 years, the agreement has to be reviewed, and you have to have a committee set up that will do like an assessment within the question, the concession area, to ensure that Mittal was adhering to the agreement that they affixed their signature to. So that 5 years review was done in 2013. When that review was done, it was also supposed to be, I think they did that in 2007 and then 13. Okay, but I'm aware of the 2013 review. So that review was done, and then there were other recommendations from that review. The review that was to be done 2018 has not been done. But come to your question, when I was in government, I explained here quite crystal clearly how these agreements are formulated and how the different sectoral ministries, are put on the committee set up by the president. The superintendent is nowhere near there. But as a natural advocate who sleeps, lives, and dreams and thinks only about her people and her country, it's just something that comes naturally. It has nothing to do with politics. So I took risk. In Liberia, our superintendents are appointed. And when you are appointed, you serve at the will and pleasure of the president, the one who appoints you. However, regardless of that, I'm on record as holding Mittal feet to fire and demanding certain things from them when at the national level, the review was delayed. As superintendent, I took Mittal to task. And I'm on record for that.
Okay.
Asking to know how many Liberians they had in their employ. I wanted to know because I was getting information that they were hiring, foreign firms and bringing foreigners and leaving Liberians. That's not something a superintendent does. That's something that a committee that is set up to do the revision supposed to do. But again, when something is part of you, second nature, you almost don't care about the consequences of your action because it comes naturally. So I did that.
Okay, before Nicole come in, Mr. Joe, you got a follow-up?
Yeah, thank you for that. But I want to ask you, this person deed that is not ratified by the lower house. They said I will provide 2,000 jobs immediately, 4,000 indirect jobs to the people around there. They said that the railroad and the port, the government will keep those things. And I think the government is supposed to have $65 million as revenue coming into the government. With this, what do you think that the people of Nema, Bombasa, that you think need to be added to these things? And secondly, what are the clauses you think that the government should put in place to hold this community responsible, just in case if they don't live 6 months? Now, hey, after 6 months you don't do this, we can call you. 9 months you don't do it, we can call you. So, what are the things you think that this deed that the senators of the 3 counties should put in place in this package that will satisfy you and the people of Nema, Bomb, and Basel?
Mr. Josh,
yeah,
we do not want a new agreement, an extension. There's no need for it. Metal has 25 years. They have only gone 15 of the 25 years, 15 and a half. Metal still has 9.5 years to operate, to complete this agreement. And even at that, they have the opportunity and first preference for extension. 6 months to the expiration of the 25 years. There is no need to rush. Metal must first finish the 25 years and meet all of its standing obligations before we talk about extension. So for me, I mean, my line of advocacy right now is that there's no need for signing of new agreement. Okay. There were things that Metal was supposed to build, for instance, the concentrator.
Well, the reason they said that the concentrator is in country. They have been giving promos and other stuff that the concentrator is in country.
When did it come? You know when they were supposed to build it since they did that, they signed the agreement?
Madam, well, let me come in. You always say, they say. There's a difference in they say and they have done.
Who, me?
Okay, big. No, not Madam Wei. I know I'm backing you up with the point. You know, I'm backing you up. Okay, my counterpart is saying they say. Every time he counters you with they say. The thing about Madam Wei, she's saying she wants full implementation based on the past agreement.
The concentrator for manufacturing was steel product is in country.
Yeah, but listen. In country is different from you know, that's the when you have a project, there's a milestone. Okay, every stage you have implementation, every stage, and you have to account for work in process, you have to account for what is completed, and so if you talk about those things, I think to me you have in-depth knowledge as to what should have been done. If it's something that in country, and Manuel will not be going about all around like a chicken with all head. She's saying that a lot of things that were in the initial contract, initial agreement, okay, that should have been done, had not been fully met. This is the concern too. But then how can you renew a contract or an agreement? Those things that should have been fully done had not been done. So let us be realistic and be practical about this whole issue and not complicate it. That's all I'm saying. And she's right. I'm going to stand with her on this.
Thank you.
So let me ask this question here, Madam Superintendent, if you will, to call you. I know this is not
to be called Madam Wei, Gongloe-Weh.
We people gotta know these things here. You play your part, you do your part. So I'm not gonna. Okay, Madam Wei. Let me put it that way. If it's to suit the conversation. I know this. What happens now? It was not that overnight event. You are a prominent citizen, prominent daughter of the county. My question here: do you ever had an opportunity to have a conversation with some of the lawmakers or major actors prior to these decisions of the lower house?
It doesn't have to be me, but we have a team on the ground that has started a consultation, and they reach out, the minute the information got in the public that the metal company executives were meeting with the president of the Republic of Liberia to the Jamaica result. First of all, like my brother Anthony Myers said this afternoon on the show with Costa, when you are having negotiation about the country resources and contracts that should be signed between the government of Liberia and any company, it has to be done at the premises of the government, the ministry. But this one, it was at the president's private resort. Once that information got out in September, immediately the citizens of Nimba got together, the women, the young people, civil society actors. They formed a committee, and the committee started to reach out to our lawmakers and lawmakers of other counties that are part of the metal operation. They reach out. So it doesn't have to be Madam Way.
Yeah,
But this also is my form of reaching out.
Mhm.
You know, we
What I
So,
really
Madam,
appreciate. So here is the thing, and I know the boss stop with these lawmakers. That's part of their representation because, and this is I find it very difficult to wrap it around my head because you have Nima, you have Bon County, you have Grand Bassa County to be the direct beneficiary in the Republic of Liberia. And the reasons employer go through evaluation is to validate what I hear. Alfonso is still even still get a physical strength to continue his job. So one of their major component here is look at the layout here, buildings of capacity of Liberia's workforce. Where is that capacity? Is it concrete or is it abstract? I don't see where it is. So on what basis now that these lawmakers to say you get a man 25 years, in the 15 years, there is nothing concrete that we can
nothing.
say this is it. And they are going ahead. So they are the people too. We should hold them. And I kind of it's troubling to start a go to the executive level without even and like what I'm hearing you, the citizens out there has raised that alarm. I just want
can
to
I
know the level of
can
support.
I come in? Can I come in to add some practicality to it, please?
Mhm.
This is simple. This is one of the problems we are having in Liberia, where the president decides everything, and then we keep saying you have to go back to the local government, so empower them to decentralize. It's one way to do that. All right. What Madam Ware is saying, the president, he's at the executive mansion, may not know the pressing issues of the citizens of that locality. And it's the truth. So my point there, the superintendent, the local government, so you have to give it back to them. Let them elect people they trust and they know that can do the job. Because when you start to appoint people based on, partisan basis, and so it's different. You
Let
can
me
appoint
just
someone,
come to the point Alfonso
you know.
was making about the lawmakers, and I quite agree with you. I was even surprised that my little brother Magda is talking about concentrator being in the country, even though there's no specific timeline as to when it came and when would it be, constructed. Being in the country is one thing, and being constructed and being used are two
Okay.
separate, things. However, where there is no goodwill, no matter what you do, nothing is going to materialize. Unfortunately, the companies that are coming to the country, they're treating Liberia on the basis of how we expect them to treat us. A psychologist once said, nobody treats you any different than you want them to treat you. Because the way, we say, the way you sell yourself, or if the house does not sell you, the street can buy you.
Right.
Our lawmakers who are supposed to be the protector of the citizens of this country because they are our direct representatives. We've cried on them. I was shocked when I heard that that deal passed through the lower house of the Republic of Liberia. But I want to use this medium.
It was very overwhelmed.
Let me
Very
use
overwhelmed.
this medium to thank Representative Gosua, to thank those nationalists who stood firm and said they were not going to sign on to that. But not only that they did not sign it, they also spoke out against the signing of that deal, and they laid out the reasons why it was not in our interest. What this signing of the deal has done, I'm still hopeful that the Senate will not concord with the lower house. I am still very hopeful. I think they have seen the light. They have seen the effect of this deal, and so they are not going to sign it. But I want to
Madam Gongloe,
those who have signed it, that you are now on record, and tomorrow you will have yourself to blame.
So Madam Gongloe, with this what you're saying, the reason why I'm coming back to ask this question is because I was alluding to something that you just brought up. So with your capacity as previously as superintendent of Nima County, and so my question is simple: don't you think, with the disconnect, the level of disintegration, don't you think it's prudent to go back to empowering the local governance of each county? Okay, what they can elect people they know, and so don't you think it's the right thing to do? That's the way I will go on, because I think when you talk about the House and the Senate and so, but then if you don't have a local government to communicate with them, and so there's a disconnect, there's disintegration right there. So don't you think it's prudent that we go back to the system where we're going to elect our local government or our people who are going to seek our interest, that we trust and know they can do the job to do it because of the disconnect?
Of course, there has been a decentralization bill that was passed, and the entire thing is mapped out, is laid out structurally. The roadmap has been created. It just takes the will of a president or the will of a government in power to do the implementation. And so that is something that Liberia has come to realize, especially under the leadership of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, when all these different international partners were supporting, good governance in several different, ways. And one of the ways was the issue of decentralization of our government, so as to, take away a little bit of that extreme power that the president wield in our democratic system. But I agree with you. But it's something that is on the books already. It's nothing new. All that is required is the implementation. Let's get back to the metal deal. I think one of the things that we've mentioned in line with metal lack of goodwill and their lack of good corporate citizenship in Liberia. And sadly, it's not just Liberia. It's just that Liberia is worse, but Metal has done poorly in many countries that they've operated in. There has been study done on 7 countries that Metal has operation in, including the India where Lakshmi Mittal himself is from, a province in India. The people had to get in the street to protest against Metals, one of its big iron ore company that project it was having there. The pollution of the environment unchecked is huge. If every time you turn on Facebook, I don't know how many of you get scared sometimes to open your Facebook page for the plenty, rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, young people. The rate at which people are dying in Liberia. We tend to think only on one side, on the fake drugs. Yes, the fake drugs are part of it. But the environmental pollution in Liberia is at the highest scale ever. And it's not only air pollution, it's also the pollution of the water we drink. So our people are taking in all these toxic heavy metals the mercury, the lead, the arsenic. Do your research. These chemical components are not good for human consumption. The WHO has, when you go to the WHO website, it has stipulated the allowable content of lead, mercury, or arsenic that the human body can stand. And that allowable content for consumption is 0.0001 milligram per liter of water. But in 2014, a citizen of Nimba, a son of Nimba, who is I think a geologist or some engineer, took sample, or an environmental scientist took sample of our water, a liter of water from Yekepa, Bapa, Liagbala, Zolowi, and they took these samples to the atomic laboratory in Ghana. I am telling you, Alfonso, and all of you watching, the result was terrible. In each of those liters, the quantity of lead, mercury, and arsenic was at 8.08 milligram per liter. Remember, I said the WHO said 0.0001% milligram in our groundwater, because they took sample from two separate types of water: surface water and groundwater. Surface water is the running water that metal or the chemical can run in. So that the quantity was even higher. It was 16.016 milligram per liter. The groundwater that we drink, the well water, was 0.08 milligram per liter. Still 7 times higher, 7 milligram higher than what is liable for human consumption. All of these unchecked.
This acceleration here in this sort of a slow processing, I would term it to be. Is it from this material type operation since it presents in our area? That's how this thing is that what is study proved?
Well, this is the study was done 2014. So during the wartime, there was no iron ore mining. It was a metal that resumed the mining of iron ore in Liberia in 2011. I think they did their first shipment in 2011.
Is central government aware of central government aware of
but let central government, well, if they are not aware, they are being aware now. I said in Yekepa, Metal advised its staff not to take bath. I'm not saying even drink, not to take bath with any water in Yekepa, not to cook with it. And so Metal today is the highest consumer of aqua live mineral water from Monrovia.
So these are children to revelation here. What was the reason provided? Do you know?
The reason
for
what?
Yeah, I mean, telling their staff not, and the reason I'm asking,
they wouldn't tell you.
Let me come in on that.
I will not say, staff, your drinking water, because you don't touch the other water, is polluted. They will tell what they refer to as their critical staff, their experts or whatever. They will have the information. But my point is, how do you do business in an era that you allow the residents and the citizens to drink from the water that you know is not good for human consumption? Not only that, physical damage to the towns and villages in the Yamen region. I had the opportunity during my campaign to tour that entire region. I went to a town called Baybona. It's on top of the hill. You actually can stand and see the Tokadi mountain that they're mining right now. When they blast the dynamite, the ground shakes, slapping it down. Your buildings are cracked everywhere. Some buildings, once are knocked down, and I was talking to an older chief who said, my daughter, they think they will build it over and over. When they put blast, they think our houses can fall down. So that's why you see the houses like this. The impact of the operation, in addition to the environmental degradation, the air pollution, the water pollution, there is also the physical structural pollution.
that is done. And what are these people getting back? Nothing. Go to Yekepa and see whether you can count on your hand people from the Kame region working with this company. None.
All right. Yeah.
This isn't fair.
Mr. So.
Yeah. Come in.
I don't think Madam Gongloe is exaggerating when it comes to these issues because I live there. All right. We have Proji, the river around the mine where we used to swim. Every time we went to the river, the feature, the physical appearance of there was a change every time we went to swim because of the explosion and so the issue with the people and all of these things are environmental issues that the company should be able to address. And she's 100% right when it comes to that. You won't believe it. I don't always agree with her, but this time around I agree with her because you see, for me, I'm a fundamental person. When it comes to the fundamental issues and so, I stand with the truth. She's 100% right. But we can go ahead.
I'm not cutting off, but I want to
go ahead. I'll respond.
Because there are many experts who have been saying that demands coming from the citizen is so much that the company itself is getting embarrassed with it. And this is not good environment for investors. If I all
this is the question. No. I mean, Mr. So, this is the question to him. This is the question to you. Simple question. Is it about the concern of protecting the companies or the concern about protecting the citizens? Because our government will have a function to protect lives and properties too. So if you're cutting up, duty, your fundamental duties, and so my question to you, I understand that you don't want to scare companies away, but my point is, if the deal is not good for Metal Steel will just leave. They won't be talking about renewing contracts or agreements.
Instead of leaving, they are saying, "Oh, we can pay for certain time to
Listen to this. That's not the point. If it's not a good deal, any transparent, any organization or company with integrity or honesty and so, when they look at a deal that is not good, they will just leave. But I look at exploitation. That's how I see it. So you cannot change my mind for it.
That's exploitation. That's the need. Just nail it on the
head. Change it. Yeah, that's how I see it. But because if it's not good,
I'm getting a little concerned with Mark's points that he's discussing here because we also have intelligence.
I'm now
intelligence that Metal. Metal is a billion dollar company. They got too much loose money. They've been spending money all over the place. They've been buying journalists. They've been buying media houses. They've been buying lawmakers. They're buying civil society actors. So we've been getting this intelligence.
Let me tell Margaret.
Remains
let me tell Margaret. Mark, it's a simple thing. If they spend $2 or $3 or $4 billion in Liberia, it won't still hurt them. I'm into finance and accounting. It won't hurt them. But then if someone cannot spend $1 billion on you, and then you give them so much, it should tell you that you are being used. Simple as that. I'm into accounting and finance.
I'm wondering George, before you come in, I'm wondering what are some of the rights of these people who are currently serving as an employer with these people here? Because from what we are hearing, from what we are saying, I'm wondering what was the length of conversations even with the citizens of Nima, Bon County, Grand Bassa. It is their original products, these things that they are using. It is the inhabitants of those people. They are the owner. They are the ownership. And Liberia. I'm not sure were they included into this sort of conversation.
But Mr. So, this is it. When you take if you don't decentralize, if you take the power from them, okay, and put it into the central government, Monrovia, that's what happens. All Mana Gongloe is saying.
But more than that, as part of international best practice, every international corporation and even national corporation in this day and age, you have to do extensive public participation, and it is written. And I'm sure Metal Global is something that they are aware of. It's part of the deal. You have to include, you have to do community consultations.
Right.
None of that was done. Liberians just woke up one morning, they say government of Liberia NASA deal with ArcelorMittal for extension. So ArcelorMittal fulfilled some of the key things that the key steps they needed to take before reaching the point of signing an agreement. That was not done, just to answer your question. So there was no community consultation. It's only after the alarm was blown and Nimba citizens stood up and other citizens of Liberia stood up and started to speak out that last week, ArcelorMittal decided to conduct what it called community engagements with youth of
After
the
all
three
the-
counties.
after all
But
the
that
years.
is backward. You must first do the consultation, the reach out before you reach that point
For
of
me,
it.
the background speaking from is purely journalistic. Investing to the economy. There are some experts we've spoken with who have been saying that if at all demands on investors continue the way it is, it's not only Mita. For example, Sam Darby, you remember the point for the, I mean, they were to cultivate almost 200,000 hectares of land, and they just went into 10,000, and there were several demands as a result.
So
The Indonesian company couldn't make money, and then they said later on they end up selling the company to Mano.
I think my
hold on one
Yeah.
second before Pa George
Yeah.
comes in. Business people, their core strategy is to make money. And part of that is why we need to have a bidding and open system so that you have competition, so that you will know the benefit that comes to not just only to the business people, because if it leaves with them, they will always exploit you. But the benefit that will come to the country on the short term, on the long term, go and that'll be the citizen. So if you have 3 or 4 companies with that sort of bidding process, you know exactly what they're going to put on. But when you have one company just come, by the time you go along, they make an offer and nobody to counter argue, and that's what's happening. So that whoever the experts, they themselves also have ties with these businesses, and they will do anything possible, because at the end of the day, they are also there. They're going to get their cut. Just to let you know.
And Mr. So,
companies really
Mr.
went
So,
through that bidding process with them.
Mr. So, to back you up, you know the reason why in America people do, if for instance, if your car was in an accident and you do like 3 different appraisals and so to tell the damage, you know the reason why people do that? It's simple, because if you go to one person, there's a chance of manipulation.
Right.
Okay? But if you go to 2, 3, 4 people and have a quote as to the repair, okay, you will see the difference. So Mark, I understand where you're coming from, but this is it's not practical when it comes to contracts. But I want you to listen. Listen. No, listen. Don't listen. Listen. When it comes to contract, there's nothing in life they call Nigerian way. There's nothing in contract they call American way. Contract is standardized. Standardized is what needs to be done. When it comes to corporate, social responsibility, it's called corporate social responsibility. Whether you move it from America and go to Africa and go to this place, it has to be done. So my point there, this is what we do to ourselves. We tend to think that we're not important when it comes to those agreements. We think that we are desperate. We're not desperate, okay? Because if we're not desperate, Metal Steel will not be over there. They're desperate. Exactly. So we need to detect the terms and conditions of our contracts, of our agreements. Whether you like it or not, you can do your investigation. I'm telling you, take it for somebody who did budgeting and who is into it. That's how it
Joyce
should be.
coming, so we'll take a break for our guests to have a drink, and then I will be back. Joyce, I guess you wanted to.
Yeah, I want to add Madam Webb, and I got a comment. I have listened to, I think, one of the senators from Nemac, I think Honorable Jeremiah Kuhn, and you have said a whole lot here. Well, having listened to him, things that he articulated about the contract, for me, listen to what we discussed, it's just minimal. That he's saying that if the company meet those benchmarks, then they will go ahead. And what we are discussing, especially what you are stressed on, the senators from Nemac, I'm not hearing anything. Even from Bond County or Bassa, none of them even advocating or stating what you're saying. Like you talk about the environmental effect of what is happening in Nemac. It's the same thing that's happening in Kohoya district in Bond County, the gold mine. 2007, I've been on this campaign where the fish and everything was dying, the poor crops were dying. And I was calling the former Senator Yala, that his district, and other authorities from Bonga to ascertain what is happening to their people. But all those things fell on deaf ear to tell you the way our people treating their fellow citizens. It is pathetic that today we live in the 21st century and you got people who are taking billions of dollars out of the country. But the people in that very region don't even get peanuts.
They're living in huts.
They're
like animals.
Scholarship. The Korea man, they say get $1,000 scholarship for students.
But there are pictures of Yekepa. You know, prior to the war, Yekepa used to look like New York. That was our New York in Liberia. Look at Yekepa today. This way, instead of building concrete structure, because in the MDA, they were to rehabilitate the infrastructure of the former Lamco. They were to do, they were to do more than that. They have, you know what they've done? They've brought prefabricated containers for the people to live in. When you see Yekepa, it's so sorrowful. When you reach to P Market, the former pavement, a crack everywhere now is made like mountain. You would never believe that this was a place that people used to leave from around the world to go. So Metal, not only that they've done that, not only that they've reneged on what they were supposed to do, take for instance, even the rail. Just for the usage of the rail, Metal, within 2 years of signing the agreement, should have rehabilitated the rail and extended it. They've not done any extension of the rail. They just use it like that to take their iron ore. When it finish, then they walk away. Another health hazard, and in fact, not just health, environmental, and safety hazard. Where Lamco mined before, up the mountain, Manimba, when you reach on top of that mountain, there is a huge gaping hole the size of a football field. It's as deep as several hundred feet. It needed to be filled up. It's not filled up. Water setting in it is turned to like they call it blue lake or green lake. But here is the risk. It's on top of the mountain. That water is seeping into the dirt, into the ground. Over time, the ground was softening. There could be an eruption and mudslide that will cause that entire Yekepa going all the way to Liagbala and maybe to Zone. I have mentioned
that will be similar thing that happened in Cape Man.
No, but
exactly. So there's so many risks looming over our people that a Metal has not addressed. Yet they do an extension, and then they want to blow your hair with 800 million. The 2006 amended agreement was worth 900 million investment. Where is it today? What the impact of that today? They are just numbers. They were to invest $75 million into social services in community. Can we do the assessment? Review what Metal has done. to put dollar to the work they've done to see how much it amounts to.
Yeah,
So
that is
it's almost like you're renting your house to a tenant, and the tenant is to clean your house and pay your rent on time. They've forfeited all of that. They're not doing it. Then you say, "Wow, where
I
is
think,
the rent?"
guys,
I think, my Governor, this is simple. This is something. This is something that Mark. This is something that Mark, as a journalist, should be doing. All of the things you're saying right now, he needs to go back and do his research and say, okay, the previous contracts or agreements, you have all of these things in it. Let us go and assess or measure what you've done, and
What
so
you've
to
done.
see if it's okay. This is what Mike. This is the position I expect Mike to have right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
this is the position I expect him to have.
Let's have a quick commercial for our guests to get a cup of drink, and then we will. What next? Now the lower house has taken a decision. What is the next initiative to put edge on the airport? We'll be right back.
Welcome to Fiber Queen off of Woodland. Everyone that's looking for nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need ashebi, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She have really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then Nicole will be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and ashobi hand ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fiber Queen on 6695 off of Woodland. 6625 Woodland Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodland Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Tell the management of Fabrics Queens in Philadelphia is easy and salt of the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all Akwaba.
All right, we say a big thank you to our sponsors right there at the Fabrics Queen, right there in Philadelphia. If you have a business you want to advertise, just let us know. Guys, we're going to be wrapping up very shortly with our guests.
Yeah,
One second, Mike. We're going to be wrapping up with our guests very shortly, then we will continue the conversation.
okay. So, Nicole was saying, what I should do, I and other journalists should do. But let me say, I have the contract right in front of me. I've been reading it over and over and over. So, yeah.
We're going to come to that. I get one or two things to talk with, to talk out here with our guest. When she leaves in our last few segments, we're going to have some other conversation. Okay, so Madam Weh.
Yeah.
Okay. What we are talking now is an obituary on the part of the lower house of parliament or government, because they are past that. So you are sound this alarm, you give this sort of alarm, and it still went ahead. But you still say you get the hope. What should be done now? What should the citizens, what all of us Liberians should be concerned with with the upper house of government, because that's a final point that we don't know. We are not here. Unlike here, sometimes when these when critical issues come, you hear lawmakers or you hear people come out to say, "Oh, I am for, I am against, and this is the X Y reason." We just don't have an idea what these people, our people, wherever they represent. At the end of the day, the vote is counted. That all we know, all voted, who voted for, who voted against. Very suddenly to get this information, what they should be doing now. What's your plea to them? This the upper house.
Well, we are looking to the upper house to do what they need to do as elders of Liberia, the House of Elders. So there are talks ongoing. That's how political life is. It takes negotiations, it takes discussions, and not every discussion and negotiation is going to be in a public space. So I take it that most of our lobbyists, most of our advocates, I should say, not even lobbyists, but those who are advocating for the interest of the people of Liberia and by extension the people of Nimba, Bong, and Grand Bassa, they are talking with the different senators and we spread their numbers. All of us are calling our senators. I just had an exchange on, social media exchange with Senator Dillon yesterday, and I told him exactly how we would like for him to vote. So people are reaching out to those senators and will continue to reach out to them. My information this morning was there were some attempt to have an extra or special session to concord with the bill today. I am not sure that happened because up to this evening, I hadn't gotten information that they went ahead with that. That gives us a window of opportunity. The fact that that did not happen today, that means that some people have begun thinking because, politicians, when they think about elections. So some people are going for re-election 2023. The money looking good, but some money when you eat it, it can run your stomach. So I think they're having a second thought on that to look for the first time, if I should say that they will be looking to protect the interest of Liberia. And this is not about Nimba, like I continue to say, this is a national call. It's about the Republic of Liberia. It is the country that has been shortchanged. It's not Nimba, it's not Bong, it's not Grand Bassa County independently. We are a subset of a whole. So Nimba and Bong and Bassa, they are a subset of a whole, and that whole is the Republic of Liberia. This deal is against the country, and we must all stand against it. I like when Brother Amos George talked about the Kokoya situation. So today we've blown the alarm, and more people have gotten to know what is happening in Yekepa, and with this new deal, we should extend it. It should not stop with Metal. It should go as far as what is happening in the Kokoya region because we must liberate this country from one county at a time. We should go to Granjide. We should go to Riverside, where our forest has been attacked. We should go to Pabli, where you have people coming and almost like doing land grab before us and planting live trees. There are so many things. Our fishery, our waterways, Liberia, right now, our sovereignty is under attack by these criminal vampire companies. Our waterways, you have Nigerians and Ghanaians who just get on the rafter and get on St. John River or any of our big rivers and start to dredge rivers and get diamond because look, Liberia is sitting on mineral wealth. I found out recently doing some research that Liberia has 30% of the remaining iron ore of the world. So we rich. We're sitting on our mineral resources. Liberia has oil. Liberia has all of that. If we don't, what we started today, or I'm saying today, not literally, but proverbially, what was started with this metal deal should be sustained to every other company and deal in Liberia to ensure that the country's interests and local content are not just embedded, but they are implemented to the fullest. Because we sometimes Liberians have a tendency, they write things and we put on the counter and it collect dust. We have laws, very good laws, but they are collecting dust. So it's the Metal deal. It's good, but government, relax. Metal took advantage of that and didn't implement. We are now saying it's time to wake up. Something can wake people up, and hopefully this deal is going to wake Liberia up.
Before you go, I can't let you go without giving my own literary punch here. There's a volatile political process ongoing coming 2023. One of Liberia's funniest human rights advocate by the name of Councillor Edith Gongloe-Weh accepted the position to contest the presidency of the Republic of Liberia. And the name is similar to Edith Gongloe-Weh. Have you had a chance to speak with your brother?
So this is something that is close to me. But tonight, Alfonso, with all due respect and all the, whatever accolade and stuff that put on you, I wouldn't want to trivialize or dilute this discussion because, by the time politics seep into something, it has the tendency to override every other discussion. Right now, our focus is something that is the here and now. Liberia is facing a serious investment or what you are saying, a contract crisis. And we need to focus our attention on that. Like my brother who was on here, he said he has always disagreed with me on everything. Just the one he agrees with me on. I want to keep him agreeing with me on this platform, on this one thing. I don't want to take away that support. So, but that's something that could be discussed another time. Right now, we are concerned about the here and now, about this bill that is at the brink of being passed.
But George, I was on point. When you talk politicians and a media guru like yourself, I know the deflection and the pivoting going to come in. Okay, Madam Edith Gongloe-Weh, we want to thank you so much for your time and expertise. We hope to have you here. We will still get your take, and I respect your view and opinion because you're like a piece of cloth between the seas of Edith with Liberty Party and very close in the area with the other stuff. So we just don't know.
Thank you so much, Mr. So, for having me on your show. And I look forward to future engagements. And thank you, small brother Mark Dye, and then Mr. Josh. Thank you so much. We all should work together to protect the interests of this country, because like Einstein said before, the world will not be destroyed by the wicked people and the bad people of this world. The world will be destroyed by good people who sit supinely and do nothing.
Thank you.
We don't want to be part of that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, guys. Let's have a quick wrap up here. Mike, we want to thank you so much. I know it's after 1 or 2 o'clock in Liberia in Ganta City.
Yes, sir. It's in the morning here. It's 2:25 a.m. here in the morning.
We really don't mean to keep you up to that late here, but bring us up to speed.
Well, it's part of what we do, so it's always good to sometimes commit yourself to it. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. What is happening now late this evening? We saw party chairman Musa Hassan Belete was in a late press conference after that temporary injunction was filed and with her is being lifted. What is happening right now and what is expected to happen later on in the day in Ganta City with respect to Liberty Party?
Okay, so to just summarize it, what is happening right now is that a writ of preliminary injunction that was yesterday placed, because for Liberia context we are in the morning now, so let me say a writ of a preliminary injunction was issued on Friday during the morning hour, and then later on, just in the evening hours, at about 8 to 9 p.m. Liberian time, uh, we got a call from the acting political leader, that is the chairman of Liberty Party, Mr. Musa Hassan Belete, and called up quickly for a press conference, and then we rushed to the Mountain Dew Hotel where the press conference was held, and the press conference was all about the lifting of a preliminary injunction. In the injunction, there was another uh, injunction, petition filed to it, but which they call writ of indemnity. They have some legal terminology to it, and then that writ overrides the writ of injunction, the preliminary writ of injunction are issued by Emmanuel Alzango and others earlier on Friday. So it means that writ of injunction was overridden, and then it's been null and void. So the every other proceeding that the most ability committee or special or convention is supposed to have will go ahead as planned. According to Ms. Ability, about 80% of the delegates across 8 counties in Liberia, they are currently in Ganta. So this morning by 9 o'clock, they're going to be starting proceeding.
So what is the atmosphere? Do you see people coming from other parts of the country who are partisans of Liberty Party converging on Ganta to embrace this convention, for example?
Well, to admit, I did not see up to this time, this morning hour, I did not see any other person from outside of Limba or some huge delegate, but Bennett in the press conference told us that there's a huge of delegates already in this city to participate in the process. According to the Liberty Party Constitution speaks of 8 counties out of the 15 counties uh, when they converge at delegate, it definitely means that that convention should be taking place because based on the number. So that's what it's basing on, and according to him, tomorrow. This morning at about 9 o'clock Liberian time, there will be the convention going to be starting.
Okay, Mike, it's late. We'll let you go. I know you get a huge tax in the morning, already in the morning, but I want to thank you, and we'll be monitoring news coming from our end. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. So. Thank you so much.
All right. So, Pat George, let's have a quick wrap up and run up here with this whole thing here. Edith, she's speaking out. She said there's still a hope. The lower house has gone ahead. But what is fascinating in this whole thing here, because when you look at the agreement and some of the engagements of Assault Mattel, the 15-year, well, other people might argue, say they are still within the board of the 15-year. But the reason people do evaluation is for your possible inclusion, or whether you'll be awarded a contract again, or even the reason your employer do your evaluation is to determine whether you still fit or you have people can give you less supervision to get your work done. But for this case, we haven't seen that much. There's nothing concrete that we can reference to. The lower house has gone ahead to approve it. What should we should be the upper house? Would there be a big difference? There'll be any game changer? Have that happened before, gentlemen, before we go here?
No. Let me say this, so from what the lower house did, and what I heard the senator, one of the senators from Nema County, the other this on one of the network, this bill will pass, even though we're screaming on our heads, but it will pass with some of the minimum verification, and they will say this thing went out there, they put it there in that spot. This bill going to pass. Even though maybe few senators may not sign it, but we don't have a filibuster proof. So even 10 senators can say they're not signing it, the other 22 will sign. This is the problem. These are some of the problems we got in the country. So this bill passed, even despite all the red flag that is being raised here, the environmental pollution, the conduit for the past 40 years, they are not labeled to anything. They had not met even halfway. Take for instance, you talk about 1,800 housing units should have been built. Today, they plan to build 300. 300 out of 1,800. And they've been operating almost 15 years. So how can you evaluate these people to say, okay, we're going to give extension or we're going to add another more year to the contract? You talk about the school, the NVDC that used to be in Basel and Lamco. They had not renovated that. So there are so many things these people have not done. Bottom line, they are not lived up to the side of the agreement. So I don't see the need for people to say, extend the contract for another 25 years. No. First thing first, they should be demanding what the company did not do in the past. Let them meet up with that obligation. Then before you can do an assessment. But again, the lower house, what they put there, they say $800 million. That money should be given within 19 months. $55 million will go to the government. So you can see why these guys are rushing, because they have put in some figures there, knowing that when lawmakers hear this kind of figure, they want to say, hey, my man, you can't let that money go. So then it sounds very big. But look at the bigger picture, which is the people. What are they going to get at the end of the day? But again, this is Liberia. And I can tell you, Mr. Snow, I don't care how much noise you make, these guys are going to pass a book of extension and they will come with all kinds of excuses to tell you, oh, it's going to create 2,000 jobs. They're going to create 4,000 jobs. And the person that will do 6 months will go back to revisit the contract to see whether they're living up their social obligation. But it's just another sad day going to come again for us on this contract.
Okay, Emirates, Nico, let me bring you in here. Look, the lower house already, we haven't seen a big difference in history of our guys when they're voting, but they have gone ahead. They should be the very first one to set the bar to say, hey, this is the arrangement. This were the provision that were made, and you guys should have done X, Y, Z. They didn't even go half, but they have gone ahead to give it a rare copy welcome. So, what is the probability now of the upper house? If we're hearing envelope, I do not have anything substantial to kind of argue to say something was given, some sort of play to win or something took place here. But can we go to bed and sleep sound to say, hey, the house, the upper house will do something different this time around? Is that something running through your head? What do you think going to happen?
No, I mean, this is it. We've seen a pattern, okay, a pattern in essence of practicality and behavior. Okay, not different. It's the same. Like I agree 100% with my pops over there, Mr. Judge. This is it. Our country, we've gone for so long where we see that there's always been inducement of cash, of payback, and all of those things. We've seen it, but then we have not had the right mindset or the right people to be able to create the check and balance that we need in our country. You talk about metal steel for been there for almost 15 years, but then the best thing to do is to go back, revisit, the agreement to see where they have delivered, where they have failed, and so to have a consultation with them. That's not the case.
Okay, we've seen that the people around that area, the situation, the condition is so deplorable. But then how can you see the situation so deplorable that could have been better, that they could have fixed, never fixed, and then try to renew an agreement? So the point there, I think the major part of our problems is within the House of Representative and the Senate. We've seen it. The cash inducement, it's speculative, but now we're seeing that yeah, in actuality, it's true because why would you want to advocate for your people? Because the Senate, the representative, and so the senators, and so they are all advocates. I consider them advocates. Okay, they are there for the people. But why do you want to see them pass, bogus contracts and so that not going to benefit their people? If they are not benefited their people for the past 15, 10, 12, 15 years, and so why do you think that going forward going to benefit the people? That's why I agree with Mr. George. I agree with 100%.
Why is
It's a
the Yeah, we've been talking this thing from time to time, and we have still longer time to talk. Where is the alternative to subdue or to bring this thing to a full conclusion? Do you have an opposition? A group calling it SF opposition on the other side is in a complete turmoil, is still in a mess. It is not positioning herself as the alternative. You have these folks that are in both houses of government, most of them, also oppositions like GOL, some of them say they are independents, but at this point in time, we just do not know precisely who they are, what they represent, and where their positions on the critical thing. On the other side, you have an opposition group that should also be coming out if these things sounds not to be right or good for the country, to come up with some sort of a seasoned statement to outline either the good and the bad. Nothing is happening. So where does it leave the Liberian people? Pa George.
uh, uh, well,
Hey,
I was on,
yeah.
I was on. I think the government right now is capitalizing on the disintegration of the opposition bloc. If you notice that the government is by design right now because they see that the opposition bloc is disintegrated. Okay, but once you find unity with the opposition bloc, this will be something like like an outcry.
Whether
So
unity,
my point,
whether
yeah,
unity,
yeah, go
will we,
ahead, Mr. So.
will we see that unity? I'm not saying no evidence
No,
of
the reason why you see there's no unity is simple. When you have competing interest anywhere in the world, when you have competing interest, some people tend to personalize the issue. Some people tend to think that it's a holistic or general issue and is nationalistic. So it's up to the citizens. But what has happened in the past, I will be truthful to you, is the degrading of our educational system while our people can do critical and analytical thinking to say, okay, I'm empowered to think for myself. I'm empowered to know what's right for me. In America, we faced the Trump era where we saw that America got enthusiastic about Trump, and then later on felt that Trump wasn't good for the country, right? What the people did, okay, even though they were Republicans and so, but they wanted that balance and they wanted that committee with a commonality with other people and said, no, Trump is not good. Trump is why they voted him out. I mean, I'm praying, I'm hoping that we can reach to that point where our educational system will be revamped, resuscitated, where people can think for themselves critically to know what's best for them than to be pulled and pushed around by politicians. And I see in most cases the politicians they hide behind the canopy of the ignorant people to do those things. I'm not saying everybody is ignoring our country. That's not what I'm saying. But most cases, you see the agenda of the politicians are pushed by other people, by the local citizens, and so because of handouts, because of poverty, and so they tend to use those people. But when you are empowering your people, where you have availabilities of jobs, and so what people can be empowered, trust me, they're not going to listen to you anymore. So
Okay.
the whole system in Liberia is by design.
All right. Mr. George,
Yeah.
Emre here is trying to is speaking in the esoteric tone here. Now he came out to say, okay, the opposition is degenerated, but at the same time, try to walk a fine line here. There's a competition, and at the end of the day, everything gonna be okay. Is there any evidence that everything gonna be okay? Musa Belete is having one of the fours within the collaboration. Party chairman suspend standard barrier for due payment and other things. The problem is unresolved. Our understanding, she's here in the USA when there's a lot of things going on. It's like I don't get it. So why is can we vividly say that these people are off a task? Why are they wasting the Liberian people time to thinking that they are in collaboration? This thing not gonna hold. There's no evidence that it's gonna hold. The conspiracy theory started in this with the four group. Certain group felt that they're gonna have some sort of authority over the game of politics, and apparently it backfires. Why can't they fall apart so the Liberian people know which direction to go?
No, here's the thing here. You know, from the initial stage, these four political leaders came on stage that they will hold together, and if anybody happens to bring away the Liberian people, should hold them responsible. So this is why yet and there, this is now what these people are now playing on. Who now will say, look, I'm going away. Then the other people turn and say, oh, this person is the one who broke this thing apart. But speaking actually, this thing is becoming messy if it's not messy. And people now have to do soul searching to determine where the country wants to go. Because the current system is not working. It's not working. But what is the alternative? This is why now the Liberian people are confused. They got the Liberian people confused. And the ruling party today is benefiting from the whole situation. They are not the beneficiary of this confusion in the opposition camp. They're just sitting there now and laughing and say, hey, look at the people. These are the people you say that are going to replace us. They cannot put their house in order. So CDC is benefiting from this. And the Liberian people now are the victim because the Liberian people were putting their hope into this opposition. But because of grief of certain individuals, they are not dashing these people hope. So the question, how can the opposition move forward? And right now, I will not say I'm hopeful because the people who are supposed to come together now to put this thing together, they are all far apart. Today, I don't know, I saw the Secretary General of the Unity Party post. This is the Secretary General saying that if Joseph Boakai is not president, then just forget it, then they will go back to the status quo, which means that George will actually remain president. This is more Ali post. Can you imagine the Secretary General of the Unity Party making me kind of put that only Joseph Boakai must be president? If not so, then they'll go back. There will be no compromise. They should go back to the status quo. You see where this country is heading. This is why I say something. When you take responsibility and give it to people who are not responsible, this is what happened. This man should be in the background trying to see how they can bring this crisis to an end, but he then now flaming fire. So what is the hope that the life will have?
Mr. George.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with you 100%. And the reason why I took on Mo Ali on that issue was simple. Not that I tried to demonstrate how intelligent I am, not that I try to do those things, but for someone like Mo Ali, that when Mr. Cummings was the chairman, right, brought Mo Ali closer. You understand? So Mr. Cummings understands the essence of diversifying the when it comes to the intellectualism, and so diversifying people, bringing different people from different backgrounds. And so when you are in the private sector, that's what you do. You just want to make sure you bring in people from different places, and so to be able to push an agenda. So I agree with you 100%. When Mo Ali, I was disappointed. I don't know Mo Ali personally. The reason
I
why I
know
went
him.
after him was I don't know him, but it was reckless for the role he played all along within the CPP. So when you make a post like that, you're saying you are bent on, you're saying that JMB is entitled to it, and we have a framework that says we have to have a primary to see who is elected.
You guys still,
Okay,
Emery, let me
okay.
cut you up. Do you guys still
Uh-huh.
consider it is still this thing here for day one? I see it as a disaster. That document called framework. Is it still in the
No,
frame?
I think Mr. So you 100% right to be able to ask such question. I think to me, uh, Mr. Cummings always says, I have to work hard, and he said, he's truthful about it. He said, Liberian people they don't know me. I have to be able to demonstrate my capabilities, my abilities, and so I have to work hard. I'm not there yet. And one thing I like about him, he's not comfortable with his position. He says it. He said, I have to work to show that it's from the heart.
Does he regret?
And
Do
that's
you
what
think he's regretting forming part of this
no,
collaboration?
I don't think it's a form of regret. Because one thing I take from this is not regrettable. People had always painted him as someone who does not work with other people. If you work in corporate America and you reach that stage, it's not so. I'm in the management area in corporate America. If you cannot work with other people, you cannot be in that position. So for someone of his level to think that he cannot work with other people, that's a false statement. So to me, it exposed him. It exposes him more than anything, more in a good way to say this is a man. Because if you look at his ascendancy when he was the chairman of the CPP, look at since we have had the CPP, the C, apart from Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, it's a fact. Apart from him, Mr. So, what have you seen in other chairmanships in the CPP? What have you seen? Disintegration, disorganization, chaos, and so and so. Mr. Cummings had the most chaotic situation you could have. But what happened? He was able to weather the storm and be able to make everybody to work together that we had a better result during the by-elections. Let us not dispute that, Mr. So. Let us not dispute it. It's a fact that Mr. Cummings was the most hated person. He had more chaos in the CPP then.
Is he here
But he
today?
was, yeah?
Is he here today?
Is he what?
Is he still here as we speak in the CPP?
Oh, he gained a lot of support. People seeing his resolve. People seeing that he's a person who can work with other people. A lot of
No,
people he won.
I'm asking if he's still here today within the CPP, you think?
I think he's because of his I would say integrity and his principles in life. And I'm going to put a disclaimer that I don't speak for ANC in any way. I'm speaking for myself, my personal opinion. Because he's this person who is guided by his principles, his belief, his integrity, his morals, and so he sticks with that. Okay, he says from day one that he's gonna be with the CPP because he signed up for it. Even though some of us, someone like me, disagree, I was angry, but the objective of an organization is different from a personal organization. And because I respect my organization, that's why I stood with it. And then, I have to respect leadership too. Sometimes the way I see it as a private or personal citizen may not be the direction of the organization, but because I believe in the agenda of the organization, I will stick with it. And he said, it's the best thing. Liberians want us to be in the CPP. And he said, I'm not going to quit because that's what Liberians want. And you know what? Truthfully speaking, Mr. So, I respect that because he hasn't wavered, he hasn't changed on that. He hasn't reneged on that. So you know why I said this is a man of principles. If he's gonna stick with the CPP and even take a hit being in the CPP, I respect that, and that's the reason why I respect him.
So, Pa George,
Yeah.
where is the self-destruction here within the CPP? Who's going to be the victim and who's going to be the victor? This whole thing now is it the train has derailed. There's no question. I'm not sure whether they're going to bring any technicians and engineers to repair this thing. The elder in the house, Joseph Boyka, they drafted a stupid document called framework. They created a condition to say, okay, because when you're coming together and when you are collaborating, apparently you have to drop everything and you move in as a unit. But they created a clause here. Anything happening in CPP, Liberty Party, let Liberty Party people here. And I hear George Lobo and all of these people pushing those sort of soundbite. That's not a game of politics. So right now, the chaos that within the Liberty Party, they have tied their hands themselves. Nobody they themselves went in the Walmart and other places and bought those cable wire with U-Haul, and they decided to put that coil around themselves. So it makes it difficult. He, as the elder now, he can come out publicly to speak to say, hey, I am the big guy. I am the big door in the house. This thing here, we need to tone it down because there's a bigger picture ahead. There is a self-destruction ongoing. So they can talk into the Liberty Party affairs. As Ability is the king on the other side. Nyombi Kanga Lawrence left an unsettled situation and came to here in the United States. So I'm wondering if you're going to be a president and you hear said there's an incursion to one of the borders in Liberia, will you leave that? I think this is where the lack of leadership within our political institution. What are the chairmen? I say, yeah, they not agree with the positions of viability, even though they are coming with other things. But the owner of a political party is the standard bearer. Period. The standard bearer, the chairman is almost the head of the secretariat. But again, they have their own arrangement. They put these laws there for something for whatever reason, but it backfires. Who gonna be the victim? Who gonna be the victor in this whole thing?
There's no winner in this thing. The Liberian people are the victim of what is going on today. But let me take you back. I think I own a record from the day the CPP was founded. I said that, and people don't like, yeah, I said that Benina Yure was the troublemaker from day one. And today, I think I have been proven right. Secondly, Yomli Kanga and Honorable Boakai, they are the people today that are destroying the CPP. And many people don't like to hear it. But I will give you some reasons. The political leader, actually, the way they framed this political thing, by the way, Yomli Kanga is not the standard bearer because they have said they will not put on no standard bearer. So Yomli Kanga is not the standard bearer, a political leader. But the guys who run the day-to-day activity is the national chairman. And based on the document, they have power, whoever will be the chairman of that party, they have given the person immense power. So what is going on today is legal. It's not illegal. It's legal. They have gone to the election commission. They said no. Yomli Kanga, because her quest for power, you heard from the Unity Party or the Liberty Party people, because she had gone to Honorable Boakai that she should be put on her ticket so she can give her support to Honorable Boakai. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you should be able to hold your party together, get to the convention. Consensus or VPS or convention, you should be able to hold your party. But because politically she's not mature to keep that group together, and her ambition now, this is why now got the party in disarray. Now, I say Honorable Boakai. Honorable Boakai, in the midst of this, he wants to say he will recognize Yomli Kanga. Now, if you say that what happened in this party is our business to solve it, then why are you now jumping when you see the party split and you say, oh, I recognize this other leader? Why couldn't you stand aside and see, let it fight and see how, let the dust settle? But you're going on to say you're recognizing this other leader. You see how people destroy the country? This is exactly how people destroy institutions. Because I think if that was the rules laid down by them, that whatever happened in the Unity Party, let it solve the problem. When there's chaos there, everybody should say, let the partisan solve that issue. But when you jump to say, hey, I'm recognizing the other leader, you are putting more gasoline on the fire. Then moreover, what happened there again? Senator Delana went to say, hey, it is not coming is responsible for the trouble in our house. But what's about what he had done? So there's blame game going on. The people who are victims of this are the Liberian people, because their hope and aspiration again, they can see it being dropped by people ego to get to power, when even so that they cannot even put themselves together to give the people hope. And this is very dangerous for our country. Knowing what Liberia is going through today, I just came from Liberia a week. People are in actual poverty. People are suffering. And what they thought would have been a hope is not dingling in from their own eyes. They can't believe it, that today this CPP is in disarray. And there's no sign of somebody or group of people to say, hey, gentlemen, let us rein this phone. We cannot go like this. The Liberian people are dependent, but you cannot see it. You just see everybody now like, go for all, everybody for themselves. This is what is taking place in Liberia, in the CPP.
Well, folks, before we go, we are getting information is getting to be more serious. Sources are now telling us Senator Prince Johnson is currently speaking with the embassy, and it appears a lot of information is ongoing. If Prince Johnson, the sanctions on the U.S., it has to do with the fundings, the money being transferred. Prince Johnson, we are hearing, is now calling a lot of names are also involved. In the coming, it's quite fascinating to see what is happening right now. That Prince Johnson, apparently, he knows he's going to be going down eventually. We do not have a timeline as to when and how it's going to happen. But you know, I know, when Uncle Sam is behind you, you better succumb so that maybe there can be some governor. But we are hearing that the Senator Johnson is in what we call conciliatory conversation with the embassy, providing information. To 500 million that has been given is not only just to him for the protections or whatever it is. There are some other beneficiary, and as time goes by, some of those names, but we want to hold everything constant as it is right now. But what we can say from some top insider close to this, Prince Johnson is making some chilling revelations with the embassy. This is quite interesting. We're going to be following this development here. But before we go, yeah, I was just in the process of getting this here and this other information coming in here. So this is a big deal. It is a big deal. We're going to watch to see how the year conclude and how the new year processing will start with respect to what is happening right now. So, Pa George, what will be your final take here? I mean, I think Emery is having a conversation. Emery, you got to mute. I think you are muted. That's why we're not hearing you. So you have to unmute your mic from your end. Is that mean to mute it? Let me just see. Are you hearing us now, Emery?
Yeah, I've been hearing you, Mister. So I'm so disciplined in a way that I have to wait, to speak. I can just speak.
Yeah. Okay. So we are getting to wrap up for the evening, and we will still be here. Pa George, what will be your take-home message here?
Well, there are two things I'm going to say to the Liberian people. And the Honorable Senate, to be very precise, those from Bom, Nima, and Bassa, do yourself and the citizenry of those countries a favor. Do not ratify this deal. Let the company lay up to them. Go back and see where they did not meet up with the obligation. Let them meet up with those obligations. Then we can start a new course. And they should remember It's not just about those 3 counties. That St. John River runs through other counties. So if the water is polluted from Bond County to Bass, it's going down to other counties. So do not just think that only the 3 counties will be affected. The environmental effect will trickle down. You got women will be delayed with childbirth, child effect, because of the chemical that goes on the ground and into those rivers. So let it take a step back and try to do a comprehensive assessment of what these mining companies are doing and the side effect to our citizenry. Not just the monetary aspect of it. Look at the long-term impact they're going to have on these people in the different locations. And just to the last one is Honorable Prince Johnson. You know, the last time when this sanction came out, many of our countrymen were saying he doesn't have to go to America. He doesn't need anything. He can stay in Liberia. But they don't understand the treasury that they go after people work outside of Liberia, even in Liberia. They can put your account on hold in Liberia. So they don't know the strength of the United States Treasury. And now the very poor Prince Johnson doesn't have to do anything. He can stay in Liberia. He doesn't get out. Now we're learning that he's speaking to the embassy. But I think more big fish will go down in Liberia from this man meeting.
Really stunning news, revelation come in some of the news. In fact, $175,000 that was wired through a bank in Minnesota. People are crazy. The politicians, they're so greedy and they are like a cockroach. They eat until they go in a barrel. We are hearing that $175,000 was wired through Minnesota with a bank. Can you imagine somebody sending money sending it to a Bank of America? Where do you think that money? The U.S., the Federal Reserve, every dollar bill, they know exactly where it's coming from, where it's going. They know how much going out, how much is coming in, and the identity of that money. That has been frozen. That's why we are hearing now 175,000 United States dollars that was wired through Bank of America through in Minnesota is right now is on hold and investigation is continuing. Emery, what are we going with? What's your take-home message tonight?
Yeah, people don't understand, the money trail. This is how you track crimes, any illegal activity. You have to follow the money. I'm into accounting and finance. So when people think that there's no way, I will say this from the get-go that Prince Johnson, not only Prince Johnson, George Bulley, the likes of every one of them, all right, the reason why they are hiding because of the tribalistic, tendency that we have in our country. We tend to vilify, we tend to put people on pedestal based on, we'll all agree on the issue, but once we cross the tribal line, it changes our views. Mr. Josh, am I right on that?
Oh, you are right.
It changes everything. So when you when I write, Mr. So, on tribalism is our major problem. Whether we like it or not. We'll agree on everything, but once it crosses the tribal line, we differ. We tend to, yeah. So for me, people will not like it. I would say I'm very, very blunt when it comes to tribalism. Whether it's George Bulley, is Prince Johnson, is Alhaji Kroma, and so and so. We need to forget about the emotional aspect, the tribal aspect, and so, and let them go and face the law for the things they've done, and then before we can welcome them back into our society after they are vindicated. But it's sad. It's sad that some of the people we stood with when it came to advocacy. I think Mr. George from early on, he was right there. He watched everything. Okay. Some of the people we stood with today are the same people today They took a different path when it came to the travel aspect. It's disappointing. And that's the reason why you see Mr. So, people don't, I'm very, very visible when it comes to the issue of Liberia. I put a cloth on my face and look at the issue and don't look at where you're from, the region you're from. I don't. And people will tell you, I've gone after people from Nimba, from Grand Jide, from any part of all parts of Liberia when it comes to the issue. They don't like it. But my thing there is, the more we put into education in Liberia, the better we're gonna become. Because what I notice in our whole system, our culture, our society, is the lack of knowledge. And that's the reason why we have suffered and we are still suffering. The lack of knowledge, truthfully speaking. Some people are not equipped to think critically, to think analytically. And when you have critical thinkers, analytical thinkers, and so it helps a whole lot. Don't underestimate it. So, I enjoyed tonight the discussion with Madam Gonglo. She's one of those that I've always opposed. I will make a phone call to her and we're gonna sit and iron our differences to see how we can be on the same page to move Liberia forward. Yeah, no, no. Seriously speaking, I was out there, in the open. I don't have CDO accounts, and I will tell you, people don't believe it. I don't have CDO accounts. When I come after people, Mr. So, I come after you with my name for you to know the face and the name. That's just me,
But that's what I do.
Mr. Josh. Yeah, I know. I like that. I like that.
Amber, do you go after your own? Meaning, I know you are a strong supporter of ANC, for example. Do you go after your own? Because you politicians, you advocates, when it comes, and this is where some of us frustration is, the people loyalty tend to surpass the national issue to the extent that even the people that they support, they can't even raise their hand, their finger to say, yes, I support you. But this time around, you get the history wrong. Is that you? Have you been doing that?
Yes, so many occasions I can list so many instances where I have done that. I'm on records of that.
Okay.
Okay. When ANC or Mr. Cummings said support the peace protest and so, right? I stood up and supported the peace protest, and I even put money into it. And one of the issues, for instance, hold on. So are you hearing me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Loud and clear. Let me see. I think you muted yourself on that side.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, but you got to unmute it because you. Let me see what.
I've always been.
Yeah.
What's going on with your mic? Unmute your mic. Emma, you got to unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic.
Check your microphone. Check your microphone.
Can I hear us?
Check your microphone. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're hearing you now, so don't say anything horrible. We'll get you. We'll hear you. Go ahead. We got 30 seconds to go. Like a minute or so now to go. We hear you.
So are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Is it much better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I don't believe in I have to have a pattern or history with a person to know their behavior, their practices, and so before I put you on a pedestal. And truthfully speaking, yeah, when most members of ANC were in accordance with the advocacy of the law, I did not know him, and I was never ever one of those. You cannot go back and trace Emmerich, putting the law on a pedestal. And today I'm being vindicated because you see, when it comes to optics, when it comes to projection, vision, and so, I don't just do that. I don't. My father says, he told me, he said, Emery, you have to know a person in depth before you can make recommendations and put your neck on the line for that person. So with the issue of the law, I never had a problem, but I never put anything into him, no energy also into him. But today we see or inconsistency in his behaviors, and his pattern and his practicality. We're seeing it. So for me, it's a liberation for me because I need to be profound when I'm making a decision. And being on this platform, I will tell you this. Yeah, I will give it to you. To acknowledge some of the discernment that some of us we have. We may be partisan of ANC, but we just don't go by whatsoever that is on the agenda of ANC in respect to the people of Liberia. We stand for the people of Liberia. We are patriotic people. We want to see, Mr. So, what's good for Liberia, not what good for ANC. So the good thing about me, and I will tell you this, is most cases, I align with Mr. Cummings. And Mr. Cummings a person, and Mr. So, Mr.
All right. I think it's running out of liquid now. Okay, so that's how we're going to leave it today. It's quite fascinating. A little more, much detailed information as to how the Prince Johnson University is being built. A lot of revelations coming out with that. You know, that's what happened when when you're formed together as a group, and one person wants to play smart or the other
Yeah,
thing.
Mr. So.
Yeah.
No, I was speaking and I don't know what
Yeah,
happened. I think it was a
yeah, yeah.
technical issue.
Maybe you're running out of energy. We don't know why. He just
Yeah, no,
went.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Let me come back. I said the reason why I stand with Mr. Cummings is simple. I'm not related to him. I don't know him from anywhere because of my interest in politics. I entered into Liberia. I was there as a business person. I went into the Ebola crisis and what have you. And so I felt that okay, we cannot run into the private sector if we don't make sure the fabric or
All right. Are you there? Okay. All right, my man. I think so. Maybe things going up now. So let me just moving. Okay. So, Pa George, we're gonna leave here. The Liberal is not here tonight, so he got a time off. He's been having a very horrible night. We want to thank all our viewers and listeners for being part of this program. Again, Emery, you're going to be here from now and then to chip in. Anybody who really have interest, we have sent this open box out there. It requires time, energy, sacrifice, and commitment. And so we also would like to hear from ladies. But when it comes to Liberia, I think all of us do have a share in it. That every voices should be heard. Not just we should put our whole life on hold because of these politicians. We need to have these sort of open conversations in a authentic fashion. We can disagree, and you have the right to disagree with our talking point here. You have the right to accuse me of, oh, I'm supporting this person, I'm not supporting that person. Yeah, we don't sanction views and opinion here. We just, as long use some language here that will be offensive to other people, take into consideration. Other people will be blown off. That's the only thing. But other than that, our analysts, as a host, and even guests, yeah, you have the right to disagree with them. But we want it to be done in a safer context where we can have an open room. At the end of the day, we can sit and have a conversation about our country. So that's how it's going to look like. But George is getting quite interesting. We'll be following these developments, and we will continue to have this time to time, have this sort of conversations. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
All right. So, folks, that's how we're going to leave here this evening here. All right, taking you to Nima County, that's Princess Jemima Walker. We are now hearing Senator Prince Yomi Johnson is speaking behind closed door of the embassy near the capital of Monrovia located at Mama Point. So a lot is happening now. A lot of names been surfacing. We don't know exactly when this whole ball going to drop, but sources of folks that are close, this that I intel now tipping up, and we getting to know some of the folks that are involved and how even Senator Prince Johnson University to College is being to build the place. Funds were all coming from. And Uncle Sam is really following the trademark now. So we're going to wait and see how that happens. Whether it's going to be blown up before this year end or in New Year, we have no idea. Usually, they've got to make sure that everything is at a full conclusion before these things are publicly revealed. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank all our viewers and listeners, wherever you are. Thank you for sharing your evening, your morning, your afternoon with us, wherever you are. Thank you for your time, your comments, your tweets. We usually go back to review your comments here. If it's your first time, we want you to make this network your home network. As usual, just look on the bell icon. You can click the notification so that you can get an alert. The official podcast is also on www.liberiapublicradio.com. That was official to website where detailed news information are transcribed, and you can read international news. You can follow us on YouTube, our Twitter handle as well. That's how we're going to bring it down here this evening. We want to thank you so much for your time. And we're looking forward to having you here again at some point in time as we have these national conversation. It is important that you form part of this national conversation because Liberia is for you, for me, and all of us. We should not allow these politicians to be the only decider for our country. Do not allow yourself to be like a donkey. Donkey is an animal that people usually sit on it. You never see people donkey going on somebody back. So I refuse to be donkey. You should equally refuse to be donkey because when they make you as a donkey, you don't make informed decisions. They try to regulate you. They see you as a toy. And do not allow anybody to. You're not a game that somebody going to toy it around you. All right, so let's watch out. Let's keep praying for our country. Civil conversation would be the potential to remedy to our country to a solution because if we can't have this civil discourse, we can't hold the politicians accountable. We can't hold the advocates accountable. We can't even hold the journalists, commentators. We can't hold everybody accountable, including you yourself as an ordinary citizen. Things that you say, things that you write, it does have the propensity to degenerate our country into chaos and into confusion. But once we come together, you argue your point, I argue mine. We put them on the radar and try to see what is applicable, and the country can work with it. So we must be more or less solutions oriented in the next republic. And that's why we ask our leaders, people that we elect, whether we agree or disagree with them. This should be our reminder today. Until then, have a pleasant evening. And by God's willing, same time, same stations, we're going to be right back here with more programming. Bye-bye.
Let it go. I say you spread a suppression. Let it go. Spread a denial, spread a depression. Let it go. Oh, I'm tired. Like a low end. If you're picking, take your chemo. Let it go. Your best friend, take your horse. Let it go. If your wife said we are not compatible, let it go. Your husband say you're not my type, just let it go. If someone killed for you before, yeah, they kill your mother and they kill your father. They kill your wife and make your children. I just want that.